That's right, we are back because, as you may have heard, the British political system collapsed this last week.
I can't do it. I can't seem to shout like that. I like to put my passion into articulation as opposed to the volume of my voice. I feel that's probably the right way to go. I am Couch Coop, and we are going to be just sitting on a bench in Skyrim, mulling over our thoughts. Well, I have been thinking a lot about Bethesda lately, mainly because of Starfield coming up next year and some delays and all kinds of gossip in and around that project. We'll talk about that at the end of the video, but also because Fallout 4 is going to get a current gen reskin, and this is the PlayStation 5 version of Skyrim, and I have never put that on the channel. I want to align them all, position them all, and work out if Starfield is going to be the next step in these pillars, because 76 was not a pillar.
Holy shit.
Let's talk about the PlayStation 5 version of Skyrim. Now, as much as I love Bethesda, they seem really proactive at putting out different versions of this game on different systems, but not actually fixing some of the back-end issues that are affecting the main or base game. And this is over a decade old, this game now, and having those issues when loading up a save, like constantly, the horse dying, getting flung around the map, isn't funny anymore. However, as you can see, the PlayStation 5 version is pulling in some of these gorgeous textures from the game's later builds. Look at that moon and the smooth on my pan. I've never seen the game look so good. Obviously not put it over on PC with all these additional mods, but this is base game with achievements and all of the other bells and whistles that come with not mucking around with mods. This is what I want to touch on the video, is that BioWare and EA, some of the larger studios, have been awful to us over this last half decade, and Bethesda were awful to us in the form of Fallout 76. Now, what that did with me was put them in the bracket with all of those big assholes. It was mainly made up of just pure anger for 76 being such a strange angle for them to go in when they have always pushed towards fantastic single-player content. I use the word strange, but it's not strange. It's microtransaction, business model, roadmap, direction, and they got their fingers burned with it, and 76 is an abomination still. It looks and plays terribly as a Bethesda game.
Here I come.
But this video isn't about 76, and I defended 76's co-op aspects. The online co-op angle for being able to enjoy the Fallout universe like that was a first, and it worked just, but it wasn't a traditional Fallout game, and loads of people did not forgive Bethesda for making that move. Because of the taste of 76 in my gob for all those years, I clean forgot it was a palate cleanser of the quality for the previous games that they'd given us. I just forgot how amazing Skyrim is. When you sit down with it after 10 years or 5 years or even a year just to see a new edition of it, it always warms the heart. It's such a cool story, and there's so many angles to take when you replay it. It's so many games inside one game. Is this PlayStation 5 version worth getting your hands on? Yes, because if you own the base game on PS4 digitally, you get a free upgrade, and the combat at 60 frames, totally awesome. And if you've been keeping up to speed with my Bethesda content, I've been reveling in getting to enjoy these games, especially the combat or gunplay in PEG 60 frame per second modes, and that's changed everything. It was always the weak point of going into first person or having close quarters interactions. It would stutter and judder and really pull the immersion. I would like to avoid it at all costs. I remember VATS in Fallout 3 being the go-to mode in combat because it was so difficult when you went into that first-person shooting mode. Same kind of went for Vegas. And that brings me on nicely to Fallout 4 on the PC with the high texture pack installed. Now, I don't drop them often on the channel, but holy fuck, This deserves an F-bomb. What a beautiful looking piece of software compared to that PlayStation 5 version that we're currently experiencing. I've basically shut myself in with this game, looking at it all again with those assets, tiny bits of rust on everything, the pebbles, the ground, the water effects. Ultra mode and that high definition pack is just an eyeball sizzler. Absolutely stunning stuff. Couldn't resist a comparison here at the bridge. And here's the annoying thing. This is what we're going to get over on the PlayStation 5 side next year. They're going to give us the high texture pack, and they're going to give us an option for 60 frames per second at 1080 or a 30 framed 4K. I'm pretty sure nothing like ray tracing or the alteration of the God rays is going to go ahead. It's just going to be this PC version that I'm already looking at. It has been stipulated as free, however, and I'm running my PC on an RTX 1660. That is not a powerful card by any stretch, so it might be a bit better next year when we see that current gen update come in. I'm really holding my breath through it, and I'm also trying to hold back on Far Harbor until that comes out, which is going to be a nightmare because I'm dying to play that. I like to pretend that this bit of footage shows the texture pack and the difference of it. It doesn't. This is just loading on a map. I've moved to a section too fast because it's not sitting on my SSD. Some of the textures take a while to load in, but when the difference does come in and you see how crisp this game can actually look, it's worth going into those mods and pulling that out. It's not a mod, it's an actual official bit of DLC. By the way, there's far too much of this Fallout 4 footage. I can't help myself grabbing the capture. I'm so slack-jawed at how gorgeous it looks. Walking around the wasteland and seeing everything again like this is just a reason to fire the game up. It's on Game Pass, and of course the texture pack costs nothing. I've been experimenting with resolution, so I pushed it right up to 4K and it went to 30 frames per second and was dipping, and I can't handle this game at anything under the 60 now. Once you see the promised land of 60 frames per second on Fallout 4, you do not want to go back. This is the 4K at 30 frames per second. You can see the rocks and detail on that environment. In actual fact, it's so damn detailed that I'm not going to upload this whole video at 4K just because of this one clip. I'm going to do it at 1080 and it's 60 because you can see the slight stagger on that pan, and that only exaggerates when you get into combat. As I say, GTX 1660, some of you out there will have big rigs that you can put this game on ultra and full 4K. With this Microsoft Bethesda sort of semi-partnership, the Xbox One and S get a blatantly better deal than the Sony sides, with already having 4K, I think, on their S system running at 30. Can someone confirm that for me? That was what I call a moment in a video game where the music, what you're looking at, and maybe what you're doing, they all align. Grand Theft Auto used to do it a lot, and it still kind of does to me, but Skyrim and Fallout 4 are full of moments like that, where you're staggered at what you're looking at, and the scope of the whole game dawns on you, and everything comes together with maybe what you're doing. You might be progressing just right, or wearing a cool outfit, and you just think, God damn it. I love Bethesda games. I've only had that thought twice, and I've only had it when I'm playing Skyrim, and I've only had it when I'm playing Fallout 4. Obviously Oblivion and Morrowind, we'll get into that another time, but I want to make the point that Starfield, I think, is going to give us that feeling, and I'm going to go into why a little bit later.
Maybe I should go to school about love.
Spectrum Vodka.
Hell, this isn't Bethesda. What's going on? This is bootleg Bethesda. Oof, Coop, don't say that. Alright, Obsidian are mighty. Currently on a replay of the Outer Worlds, and it's really shone a fresh light on things because I'm playing it alongside Fallout 4 again. And blimey, I will say this, as much as I praise the game on its year of launch and all that fresh material getting it pushed at you with the game's colours and mechanics, and basically it was a Fallout game with slicker UI and kind of a better VAT system, it's full of lifts and doors Like the loading screens are ridiculous. It doesn't have any load enhancements for the PlayStation 5. It does have some visual boosts, but Jesus Christ, you're up and down the same flight of damn stairs, in and out of that spaceship. I get nothing done. I sat there for about 3.5 hours the other night trying to do this damn mission. Ended up getting on Google, and I don't want to be doing that when I'm playing a Bethesda clone. But this is still very, very strong. I want to see a sequel. The DLCs are okay, one of which is stronger than the other. But again, I'm using Fallout 76 as a reference. When I reviewed this first time round, I was like, oh my god, this is like 6 times as good as Fallout 76. But when you play it against Fallout 4, it's a whole new ballgame. Okay, I think that's enough praising Fallout 4 for one day. Let's talk about Starfield. We have had a massive 15-minute long gameplay trailer come out about 2 months ago. It was nothing we hadn't seen at that E3 show or whatever Todd Howard pulled off. Here's the thing, Bethesda have watched these last couple of years, especially since they launched Fallout 76, some major studios screw up big time. So they've seen BioWare come out with that awful Anthem debacle and nearly cripple their whole reputation going forward, and they're watching Blizzard currently fall into oblivion, no pun intended, because Overwatch 2 is not getting grabbed as good as the previous game was, and they've just got all these crappy mobile ports of Diablo out. That's about all they've got going at the moment. Bethesda desperately need a follow-up to Skyrim and Fallout 4, both on a numbers level and on a confidence level. They need to make a lot of money with this next game, and they need to not screw up. There's 2 major aspects which align Starfield with the previous 2 games we've been talking about, and the first major one is the completely offline, no PvP, no bullshit microtransactions, I hope, but it's just going to be all for you, the player, and that's where we need to get back to with Bethesda. After playing Skyrim and Fallout 4 these last couple of weeks, I realised they can do this. It's just whether or not the damn thing's going to work on launch. That brings me on to the second point. A 2023 release was penciled, but there have been recent talks of delays. Not big ones, but this is kind of good news, I think. It would be the first time that they have chosen to put a major title like this back on a huge calendar front. But when we heard about Fallout 4 first time round, I remember it being like the next month, it being ready. Everyone was like, holy crap. We had the Shelter game come out immediately on the day of the announcement, and then literally 8 weeks or 6 weeks later Fallout 4 was ready. It did stagger a little bit on its opening couple of months. Not as bad as Fallout 3 did, but it wasn't completely sparkling finished. Now the current audience, and what with social media being as powerful as it is nowadays, and images and video reel being able to just circulate within seconds, they can't have an embarrassing launch. They just can't. They've seen it too many times with other studios, and I think they're going to hold back and give us what we deserve, which is the third pillar. It's going to go Skyrim, Fallout 4, Starfield. I think it has to. I think financially Bethesda really need to look good in front of Microsoft. All the money that they're throwing around at studios at the moment, they want to be on their side, and this would be the ticket. It would be a 3-strike win with those titles. 76 can just be pushed under the carpet, and Elder Scrolls Online is where they can get their monetization and microtransaction money from. I've currently got a Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition Game Pass review out, which I put on my PC, and it's really funny to see how I wrap my head around that game again, because I loved it, and it's so cool to have it back on a modern system again, and it's currently basking in the algorithm limelight for some reason. You might have found this video through that. I am Couch Coop. I will see you down there. Starfield launch, no pressure, Todd.